We're going to be talking about politics. Abi? We're going to be talking about what? Politics, technology, and electoral malpractice. Now, the truth of the matter is this. A lot of things have happened. A lot of things have happened within the past 4 years. A lot of changes happened. I mean, electoral laws we have passed. We have so many laws, and currently now nobody can predict the outcome of the election. I hope you guys are aware. Like, it's very difficult to predict what the outcome of the election. So we're going to dive deep into this. We're going to x-ray this, understand this properly, and we're just here to rub minds. Okay? My name is Thank God. I'm a professional teacher, and also I create abominations on the web by building web applications. So that's what I do. So let's dive into the core thing. I know people are going to be coming very soon, but let's just start with this whole thing. Beavers. Please, I need Daniel. You're going to explain how Beavers works. Okay? You're familiar with Beavers, right? So can you help us understand how it works? This is actually, it's not a one-sided conversation, okay? It's like everybody has to contribute. Do you understand?
Beavers. From the little I know about Beavers, is a bimodal voters accreditation system. And what it does, before Beavers, we used to have a smart card reader where they verify your card, and you comprint. But this time around with Beavers, there has been some upgrade. You'll be comprinted, and they will verify your face. So once you are verified and you are accredited, you proceed to voting. Thank you.
It's a general question. Very, very important question. Can this election be rigged the way it used to be before? How many of us are familiar with what's happening in the electoral sector? Please, what do you think? Can it be rigged?
What I know from before, but I wouldn't know too much what has been put in place now. I wouldn't know exactly all that have been put in place now, like the new electoral laws and all that. But with what I know from the last system, it was rigged. And if it is the same thing that is coming again, then it is possible.
It's possible.
In the last system, because last time we also had card readers and all of this stuff. So in many places, many polling units, there were no network, and the manual register was still used to accredit voters. So if that is same again, it could still be rigged. Okay. The electoral law you're talking about, since it's been passed, I think it's been made illegal to declare a result through a result of a manual result. So with that in place, I think most of the loopholes have been blocked. So because once you are uploading and you are declaring an electronic verified result, I don't think there are chances to maneuver the results.
And we hope
you talked about rigging, right?
Sorry?
Rigging.
Rigging, yeah.
Okay. The political system. I don't like talking about politics with people that don't know politics. Sorry. I have been privileged to be part of political system for how many years in Abia State? Even before I started J Studios, I have family that is a politician, quite alright. Rigging does not happen in the mind, or first of all, if you understand how rigging works, even with your electoral system, you can still rig the election. What do I have to do? I'll block the network of the so-called, what do you call that thing you're talking about? If I block it in my opponent's side, they call in hackers blocking the network from one other end. Now, the remaining part that has network, these PVCs that are not distributed or that have been collected from people with 5,000 naira, they will pick out these PVCs, verify them with the working electronics. where you get to a village and they have over 2 million votes. Meanwhile, people in the town don't even have up to 1 million votes. So this is how rigging works. So there is an evidence that people actually voted. Because why? These PVCs have chips, right, that once you pass through the system. So they actually have PVCs. But the problem is that these PVCs were neither not collected by human beings that have it.
There's another, we're trying to analyze this and x-ray this to understand if this whole electoral law has any, any firewall against rigging. Shall you get? I hope if I'm not mistaken, I hope you're aware that you need your thumbprint to verify your beavers. You get? So which means once you facial and thumb. So which means I have to slot my card. Do you understand? Then I have to put my thumb. Then my face must be, there's like 3-factor authentication. If I'm not mistaken, your card, your your thumbprint and your face. You get? Now, even if I want to rig this election, do you understand? And I decide to restrict network access to any other person, it's still possible, you get, that I can still use I can, I cannot really do it without the person's consent. Let me use the word consent, that 3-factor authentication. Do you get? Yes, I know electronic transmission can be a bottleneck due to the whole network, blocking the network and all that. But there are a lot of things. That's why I say that based on the way these guys, okay, let's start with the primaries. Let's not just dive into this one. Let's start with the primaries. If you notice what happened in the primaries, initially, if you are coming out for a position, you get, like now you want to come out for a gubernatorial seat. You can secure the one for Guba and secure the one for Senate. You get? If you fail in this gubernatorial own, you can just move to that of Senate. But all these things we are now blocked. That's actually why the current Senate president is not coming out again. Because he came out, he wanted to contest for the post of the presidency and he lost. You know what I'm saying? So now, looking at these laws, you realize that, okay, let's look at the network part. I hope you're aware that Nigeria has partnered with Starlink, to supply internet access. Now, Starlink works in such a way that you don't need masts to use Starlink. All you need is what? The way you have free-to-air kind of cable, this strong cable now that you just put and focus on the distance. Now, the idea behind Starlink is, like, Elon Musk sent in a lot of satellites up there. So he has more satellites in space. So now you connect directly to the satellite. You get, and Nigeria has already approved. Starlink is in Nigeria. That's the point I'm trying to make. You get, it's in Nigeria. You can buy Starlink and all that. So what I'm saying basically is that these guys, nobody knows the network they're going to use. Do you understand? As at 2015, I can recall vividly, they used MTN. They used. I hope you guys know that they've been transmitting result electronically since 2015. No, not even 2019. Since 2015, I had this lady that worked in the island. She gave me 2 SIM cards, MTN and Etisalat, and I browsed unlimited for almost 2 years. That's how the SIM card is a postpaid SIM card. Like, you just keep browsing. Do you get? Now, what I'm saying in essence is that these things now have, like, they have set up so many blockades. Do you get? The only way they can solve these things to hack the site. Number 1, or number 2, use DDoS attack. This thing we call DDoS attack. Like, how it works is this: you send too much traffic on the server and crash the server. Let me forget what I'm saying. When they say that Syria will move to this new club and their site went down, it's because the site didn't have the capacity to carry the traffic that was coming. Now imagine generating this sort of a robot, like an automated traffic. Hope you guys are aware. I hope you guys are getting what I'm saying. Then bombarding INEC server until it just goes down. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. So these are the ways I feel this thing can happen. Okay, shoot.
That's this hacking and this other one you talked about. That's where I'm coming to. You get. You say they say you must use your fingerprint. This is Nigeria, where you are talking about the ideal election. As a politician, nobody works with ideal. Who puts in their next chairman of every state? Who puts in the people that will that day? Is either you work for them or you don't even work at all. Rigging doesn't come with these politics we are talking about. Nigeria, that's why I feel very bad. We want something good to go on in Nigeria. But as a politician, from every aspect, I told someone, let me use the PO and Tinubu this thing. You find out that even the way they are working out this thing, realistic, let's be realistic. I'm not saying let's be social media or Tinubu is where if you go to Lagos, I was in Lagos till last year December. In Southeast here, we are shouting P2B on social media. In Lagos, companies that, including tech hubs, 70% of tech hubs in Lagos are sitting down now. All they are doing is to sit down and find a way for Tinubu to win. And on that day, like you said, they will bombard the site. And the site will crash. And once you have an evidence why this election was not held in this polling unit, you automatically win. So if I crash the site in the southeast, and Lagos cannot, they will find a way to measure that it's working in Lagos, which me and you know, because they don't mind paying the highest tech guys to sit down on their laptop and measure that nothing happens to that site. But here in the southeast, what do you even have prepared for this electronics? Is this somewhere like Okwangwa and Obingwa, where one man is the chief there, he will tell the INEC people to stay in his house and be eating? Do you get? So rigging, when you talk about rigging doesn't necessarily mean, gone are the days where we do thumb printing on this thing. Now we have electronics. 2015, 2019, we still had electronics, true or false? Even in my very before, they hacked one system. Every SIM card, like you said, MTN and Airtel, in that whole research of our side stopped working. One boy was in Zoom. They paid him millions of naira to sit down and do that. And this is a job opportunity for a young boy that is growing up. Imagine if you're a hacker and they give you 50 million naira to sit down and hack your whole site. You will hack the whole village. But you guys have to say, and this people in Lagos, imagine you have 70% of them in Lagos that Tinubu is willing to bring out 1 billion naira and pay, and P2B is not giving shishi. This is how rigging works in every system.
Let's ask ourselves this question. The Northerners, what do you think will happen in the North? This general to everybody. Okay, let's hear it now. You have to introduce yourself. Introduce yourself to us.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ebube. That's my name, Chide Ebube. So, going to your question, what do you think the Northerners should do? And this is my answer. I think I'm on Twitter and I've chatted with a lot of Northerners, and I do try to understand their mindset, how they think. So what I really found about the Northerners is that they love their religion more than any other thing. Their religion first. So now, I was chatting with someone on Twitter, and I asked the guy, persuade me to vote for Tinubu. Tell me, convince me to vote for Tinubu. The guy could not say anything good. Like, he could not say anything good. Only what you have to say that he's a Muslim. And I'm a Muslim, so I will vote for Tinubu. So now, if you are talking about the Northerners now, the only way this election is going to be won, if P2B wins the election, I think, is mostly the North Centrals. Mostly the North Central. That is Benue, Plateau, Abuja, Kogi, Nasarawa, some part of the Northeast. Like you are talking about North, you are talking about the Southern. No, I said something about religion. Wait, I said something about the religion. If you are talking about the Northeast, like Southern Borno State are mostly Christians. So most part of the southern part of Northeast are Christian population more. So now, because of these Christians, the pastors have more influence on them. So they prefer vote for P2B because of most Northeast, and it's not really an Hausa land. It's mostly other ethnic groups. Kind of joking. Mostly other ethnic groups. So let's say it's the northwest. It's the northwest now that will vote for mostly for religion, not really competency, just religion. Thank you.
Coming to the north. First of all, how they share this INEC or what they call equipment is in the north is they will look for their highest imam. True or true? How they share the equipment? They look for their highest imam. You know, the king there, that's what they call the person in the north. They don't give it out. They don't have a local government chairman. They regard their imam more than their local government chairman. Like it's like their head. Emir or something. Yes. Like I'm talking about word. We are talking about words. Because yes, word by word, that's how they give out these equipments. You get. Unlike in the southeast where they give the local government. That's how they give the equipment to share to their INEC people. Now, the Christians, are they the emirs? They are not the emirs. I'm trying to get a point to you.
That is for, not, if you heard what he said there, you know, we have Kogi, we have Latsu, we have Southern Kaduna, we have Benue, we have Adamawa, we have Nasarawa, we have Abuja. Do you understand? Now, these places, they call themselves Middle Belt, right? Then, these places, they don't have emirs. Do you get? They don't have emirs. The places where you see emirs are places like, let's say, Borno, around that Potiskum area. Then you look at Katsina, you know, Zamfara, Sokoto, and Kano, that area. Do you get? Jigawa, even Niger State itself. Niger as a state is kind of a mixed this thing. You get? So they are not okay. Let me put it this way. I hope you guys are aware that since the Northerners started ruling, no Hausa man has ruled Nigeria before. It's been Fulanis. Go and check it. Anybody, go and check it. It's either he's from Nupe or a different distinct, not a core Hausa. Do you get? Now, what I'm saying in essence is this: the Fulanis are the ones in charge of the north. That's the truth. Hausas are higher in populations, but the Fulanis are the ones in charge. And if you guys have watched, there's this documentary I watched in Zamfara, where, you know, in Zamfara there's been a lot of conflict there. So they had this, you guys, most of us are now aware that the Fulanis and the Hausas are kind of fighting on a regular basis due to land disputes. You know, the same grazing thing that is happening here did not start now. They have been doing that since up north. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there is a little bit of a conflict there. Now my point is this. In as much as they want to vote their people, most of these guys are now seeing the implication of what they did in 2015. It's not about religion. No. That's my own. It's not about religion. It's not about tribe. My concern now is for those ones in the southwest to understand this thing. Do you know what I'm saying? To understand this, it's not about the religion. Because what our basic concern is to ensure that we have a credible election. That's number one. Because if we have a credible election, a lot of things are going to stop. The one that shocked me, the one that pained me, we have been complaining that dollar has been going higher. Dollar is almost 780 to 800. Someone, hey Jesus, someone thought it wise to call engineers. They went to this oil well, connected their pipe, dug it 4 kilometers into the sea, built a rig, and maybe once in a month, a ship will go and dock there. Maybe like a ship that's as big as, like, let's say 10 times this building, fill it with oil, take it out and sell. What was the implication? The implication was this. Imagine if the transaction happened in Nigeria. You get? If this transaction happens in Nigeria, let's say you sell this oil, the first thing that happens is that the person will deposit the money into your bank account, right? Or into the company's what? Bank account. Now, it goes through the CBN, right? Now, what happens is that you have enough dollar in circulation. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. Enough what? Dollar in circulation. Now, when we have enough dollar in circulation, we know the law of what? Demand and supply. Do you get? And we know, and that is how we now have that thing they call foreign reserve. Foreign reserve is not, when they say that Nigeria has some amount of foreign reserve, doesn't mean that Nigeria has that money. What it means that this amount of money entered the system. It's not owned by the federal government, but it's in what? Circulation. And because it's in circulation, you realize that the economy becomes what? Stable. But someone was doing what? Doing the backyard business. Take this oil, go out, maybe go to Lome, do the transaction, maybe by cash. They drop the money there. Boom, come out. So these were the things that were affecting our FX. Do you understand? Now, imagine if we start checking all these boxes. Do you get? If you start, okay, currently I can't make payments again. Most of my payments are in USD. You can try and use your local banks to make. You cannot make payments with your normal bank. They started when I was from since 2012. I've been doing international transactions. As at then, Access Bank gave us a limit of 10,000 USD per month, which means you can use your Naira debit card and run a transaction worth 10,000 USD. By the time we got to 2015, they reduced it to 1,000, which means every month, your maximum distance is what? 1K. Then, all of a sudden, they moved to 100. Before we knew what's happening, they moved to $20. Let me finish. Currently, it's now 0. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, we now chose to use our virtual cards, the rave by Flutterwave, this virtual card, cheaper cash and all that. They have all blocked it. So you cannot use it. So currently now, we are digitally landlocked. Do you know what I'm saying? And what are they trying to do? It's not their fault. CBN is trying to help the country somehow. Because money, there's no more distance in circulation. Because the more you make that payment, what happens is that CBN will now have to take the dollar equivalent and give that foreign company. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. Because nothing is coming in. You get? So they are trying to reduce the number of USD that they are doing what exchanging, because they need more of like the ones that will be coming in. So you see that this is now like a threat. Now that is why we need competent leaders. Competent leaders in the sense that because if you have all these things, if we have someone that is policy oriented, you realize that we'll start analyzing these problems and we'll start looking for ways to solve it. Do you get what I'm saying? It will be better for us. Some of us, you notice that most of our siblings are out of the country, not because they don't like this country, but because they are tired. I don't know if you guys are getting what I'm saying. They are tired. Some people, this election is their last card. And I'm serious, like, it's their last card. Some people that believe in Nigeria, like, if it casts, they will just pack their things and leave and find a place to raise their children. Highest. You just follow your children bumper to bumper. All this LGBT nonsense out there. You can just decide to follow your child bumper to bumper. What I'm saying in essence is this. I believe that today we're meant to discuss, but not just the whole electoral thing, but to look at all this stuff and now ask ourselves questions. What do we think will help this Nigeria? Should we just vote based on, sentiments? Based on ethnicity? Personally, when I as at 2020, I did enough background check on P2B, and I was telling my friends then that this guy is good though. That kind of thing. Like, I did my own background check, and some of my friends were like, no, that they prefer Umahi. That was during that APC when they prefer Umahi. And I asked them a question that Umahi is a very good governor, but he should be the Minister of Works. Now let me explain. Nigeria has gone past, a point where you are bragging with roads that you have built. You have outgrown that thing. Federal government can build roads. Now look at what they are doing. My federal government is doing better roads. So to me, the one they did from Okigwe to Umahia is solid. We have, like there's a level you get to tell yourself you have outgrown some certain things. If federal government decide to give you a contract, they will pay you. Do you get what I'm saying? They will pay you and you get the job done. Federal government have been doing amnesty scholarship. Hope you guys are aware. Amnesty scholarship since Yaradua till date. They have not stopped it though. In as much as there have been changes in like we had change of regime. Do you get? Now we have outgrown that spot. Look at what Rotimi did. Good rail. Did you see the kind of railroads he did? Excellent. Nice roads. Check Lagos, Ibadan, Lagos Express Road. Neat road. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have outgrown that level. So someone telling me now that we were going to build 20 roads, I think we have outgrown it. We should be thinking about policies. How can we attract investors? There are a lot of people that, let me be honest with you guys, you know why this election is very, very important to us as young people? Let me explain. Now imagine this. If investors have faith in this country, they will invest in these young people. How do I mean? Do you know that you can look at how the Israelis made their money? They had nice ideas. So each time they have this idea, they will just do like a prototype of that idea. Maybe an app that does this and does that. He never even gets license, CBN license. You get? He will now write to a venture capitalist company in US. Tell the person, look at my idea, look at the demo, blah, blah, blah. We need investment. The person will ask you how much. You say, I need 3 million. Not Naira, USD. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then, the person will now do a background check on your because they have registered the company then. Do a background check on your this thing. Look at your country. I say, okay, this country is like how Israel is now. There's no electoral or political corruption there. They'll be like, okay, this country is worth investment. They'll throw in the money there. Now, Nigeria, maybe you guys are now aware, Nigeria got a lot of investments within the past 4 to 5 years. Imagine what will enter. I mean, investments that came into Nigeria based on like app-oriented or like young people ideas. Like you see Paystack, right? Paystack started with 6 million or so. From 6 million, they gave them almost 500 million. We know OPE, right? OPE started with 32 million. Funding from a Chinese company. They got almost $500 million. We know what they call them again. Verve. We know Verve, right? Now, what I'm saying in essence is this. Imagine a country where you have good governance and investors are willing, or they're not looking at the country like, okay, I think this country is, I think if I put in my money here, I'm sure that things can happen here. Do you get what I'm saying? They are willing to invest. And let me tell you guys the truth. Maybe you guys, most of us are now aware. I've been privileged enough to work for most of these white guys, and they have this concept, this mindset about Nigerians that we are ruggedly hardworking. Do you get that we are ruggedly hardworking? Now imagine that them having that mindset about the people. Let me be honest with you guys. We're the ones that always cast ourselves. Come here and talk and all that. Whenever I get some of this project and all that, I always chat them and ask them, okay, why me or why Nigeria? They will tell you this. You guys are hardworking. You guys are this. You guys are that. Go and check it. We get more investment. We're the second most invested country from venture capitalists. That's from Silicon Valley. That is the kind of money that's been entering here. Now imagine if we have a good and working government. Do you know what I'm saying? And you come up with that idea, do a prototype. I didn't say you've not even done 1 year. Just what? A prototype. You go through their classes, maybe 3 months classes, where they teach you about money, how to manage money. Then they now give you such funding. Definitely, as the owner of the company, you pay yourself as the owner of the company. You understand what I'm saying? But you now have a runway to work with. That is how you. Actually, I was shocked. I was watching a documentary. Are you guys familiar with John Harris on YouTube? He was talking about microchip. You know microchip now, right? Transistors and all that. And he said something that caught my attention. It was like, when Americans saw that, the whole cost of doing that microchip was too expensive. What they did was that they went to a young man in Taiwan. A young man in Taiwan approached them and was like, okay, you know what? Let me make the microchip for you guys. You guys should do the design, everything. Let's do this. Stress ourselves here. These guys gave this young man almost 500 billion USD. Taiwan and China are quarreling. China wants to take over Taiwan. And because of that, they are even protecting Taiwan. America is protecting Taiwan because of that microchip. Why? Because microchip is what runs the world. Now, I hope you guys are aware. Everything we are using, our phone, everything is made up of microchip. And microchip is like the oil of the world. Now, most of us are not familiar, are not really aware. Now, imagine the kind of money that came into Taiwan. Imagine the amount of jobs that people got there. Do you understand? To the point that currently now, China went and bought this thing from Nvidia. Your laptops, Nvidia now here. China went and bought the chip from Nvidia, used it and developed a crazy missile. Do you get? America got offended. America got scared. What they did was, they now said from now henceforth, every manufacturing of microchip will be in America. Guess what America did? The same company that they gave 500 billion to do microchip in their country. Do you know what America did? America told them, come to America, we're going to give you land to build that same thing there. What am I saying? If Taiwan didn't have a working system, there won't be anything like that. I don't know if I'm making any sense. So, looking at this whole thing, this election is going to help us more if we see it from a different perspective. We are all, I know this one, all of us are hardworking. We are all, and do you know the funny thing? When we talk with these guys out there, you ask them, you realize that those ones in US, the ones that live in US, they are lazy. They cannot put in the amount of time you put in to do something. Now imagine you having access to, because sometimes we think of things to do, but our bottleneck is funding, yes or no? Am I lying? Now imagine if we have a working system where these things can be solved. Some of us that you see that you are saying now that you feel that funding is available for us, we work our ass out for it. Now imagine if you have a working system. When I'm going to say it, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. When money is in circulation, everybody benefits, provided you have value. Do you get what I'm saying? Provided you have value. So that is the reason why I feel that this election is very, very important. Now the question now is this: are we sure that this thing can work? I need our honest opinion. You want to say something?
When we are looking at it, the chances of it not working, it is still possible that it will not work. So it is about the chances. What are the chances that it can work, and what are the chances that it will not work? Just like all of us have said, like Chidebube pointed out, where many people in northern Nigeria make decisions based on religion. And it's not just about religion. Religion, poverty, ethnicity shapes the way people look at things or people make any decisions. So, and it's not something we can sway and say, oh, everybody wants this to work. So these are the chances we are looking at. And also on the contrary, where I've forgotten his name, I'm talking about tech from the other side too. Now, I'm now thinking, does it mean that all these P2B crew are just sitting tight and allowing this other side of the plan for Tinubu to work? Because there's a book I read called Wildfire. So somebody was now asking a question: if you were an Islamic terrorist, which American city are you going to strike? So you're not thinking like an Islam. So I'm also looking at it that in the aspect of tech, there are chances that the P2B crew, the P2B working crew, not just those who are supporting, the P2B crew are also thinking like, oh, if I'm a Tinubu supporter, what will I do to crash this election? And
what are we going to do to stop them? So looking at it from the other, so there are chances that it can work. There are chances that it will not work. So it all depends on effort put at each side.
Yeah, my major concern right now is that I'm quite happy that to some extent the power has been taken away from few people. The few people that have this, the few people that have this domineering mindset, and the power has been given to each and every one of us. Because with the Electoral Act and the rest of them, I think each individual now has the right to decide who is the right candidate for him or her. So I'm looking at it from the angle of the individuals. Are we going to allow the politicians induce us with money? Are we going to allow both ethnicity, religion, and the rest of them be a deciding factor for us? So the thing now is now on us. It's on us to make the decision who to vote for and who is the right candidate for us.
Sorry, each time I want us to come, are we now going to? I like the way we are all being optimistic, you get? But let's be realistic each time I say. How many of us have our PVC?
That's not exactly. That was actually going to be the first question.
Now, I asked this question in Abia State. I've been privileged to know not less than 10,000 youths, starting from Umudike to AFSO to everywhere, because I speak to them, most of them either on social media, on the Twitter community, the whole of Abia State. I am the admin of the Twitter community Abia State. Business group that has over 1,000 people, I'm the admin. I asked this question, out of 100, we just had only 40% that had their PVC. 40. Young people are busy typing on social media. None of them, half of them, I can bet you don't have their PVCs. But now, go to the village. That old woman that is working with walking stick has collected her PVC. She has not collected their brought their PVC to our door. And on that day, do you know who will make her vote? Her son. And the son might be getting money directly or indirectly from these politicians that you don't want. But they are the ones empowering them in the village. Most of them, if their son loses that special advisor seat they are holding, they will go hungry. So their whole family will have no option than to vote for that particular. Do you get where I'm coming from? That's how Lagos is. Tinubu now has empowered 70% to 80% of Lagos. And if Tinubu does not win, most of them, if Tinubu wins, it's a very big plus to Lagos. Are you aware? Are you aware? Let's be very realistic. Tech-wise and otherwise. They believe if Tinubu wins now, Lagos will be the talk of whole Nigeria. And when you believe if Peter wins, it's for the whole Nigeria, right? But first of all, human beings go for what will benefit them first. Let's be very honest. Not about money, it's about sustainability. And now, personal interest. Now look at the structure we are talking about. It flows from the head now to the tail, which is from that his son. The son now will convince the whole family members to vote for APC. Then they will convince their mother to vote for APC. Giving tangible reasons. Do you get where I'm coming from? Half of the youths don't have their PVC. And now, to add to the fire, P2B was trending on Twitter. We made an analysis too. As from last year, May till December, P2B has been trending on Twitter every week at least 4 times. Now, all of a sudden, they introduced Big Brother Nigeria. Do you people see the mind game? They don't fight wars with bullets now. They fight wars with minds and tech. They introduced Big Brother Nigeria. Now, P2B is trending once in every week. Big Brother Nigeria is trending every day. On that day, they will have a very interesting program in Big Brother Nigeria. Half of these will not come out. Are you getting where I'm coming from? Let's be very realistic. Remember, that old man doesn't have Big Brother Nigeria that is busy waiting for February to come and vote. On that day, she will stay in that voting place from morning till night to make sure that and if we are used, I said this campaign we have been doing, go get your PVC, go get your PVC. If we go to the streets of Omaya, let's do a vox poll. Half of the people don't have their PVCs. So how do you want Peter Obi to win? If it's a free and fair election, you might be surprised at the end of the day. Tinubu will still show you evidence that he has won free and fair. Because go to the north, like you said, northerners, even the smallest boy that's not up to 18 years has a PVC. Are you aware? And on that day, their mother will hold them in the hand like this and come and put their fingerprint. This is how rigging works. Rigging doesn't work in the mind. It is very realistic. So politics, we are looking at, because me, I want a change, honestly. But the change stands to it. Not just me, the family, everybody. How many of us have told our mother to vote for who we want? If your father is a politician, he tells you to go and vote for APC when he's a PDP member. He will slap you. Because he will tell you that, why will you vote for Labour Party? Where have you been making your money from? Let's be honest, because this thing we are doing is, we just take politics to be typing. No. It's more way beyond trending on Twitter. Now, Big Brother Nigeria will go run for the next 3 months. And do you know that when I got the hands that Big Brother Nigeria is actually sponsored by most of Tinubu's children? They will introduce another one, the second one. Don't worry, you are going to see more of interesting things that will glue them to their phone. And one thing about this phone is that once you get glued to this, that day you might get angry. Why am I even going to vote at the end of the day to not count? Have you not heard that before? Half of the youth, that's their belief. If you ask all of us now, how many of us, let's be honest, I'll come out on that day and vote. Especially when you're pulling in it, it's at Isheke. When you're staying at Aziki, you ask yourself, how will I waste 300 naira from here to Isheke to go and put my finger at the end of the day? So this is what happens. And yet, there is someone that has introduced bus in the village, 7 buses that will carry people to the voting place, give them rice and give them 5,000 naira to vote for APC and vote for PDP. These are things that you have to put in place. There's what you call beyond all reasonable doubt. In the north now, Atiku, that's why I'm being surprised. Don't be surprised. Atiku might be playing a very, very deadly game. Peter Obi now, we are busy hearing Peter Obi and Tinubu. Have you heard of Atiku? You might not even know why Wiki has been shouting, watch Atiku, watch Atiku. Because the northerners, as much as they believe religion, they believe their own brother more. If you call a northern and say vote Atiku or Tinubu, they vote Atiku, are you aware? That's how they are. So, minus ethnicity, the Muslims and the outside people that are enlightened stay in Abuja. They don't stay in this corner like the K nations, like Kano, like Katsina. In Kano has the biggest population, true of us. And me, I know that population is not voting for people, the two of us.
So you know that
we have people because, no, as they say, when I say me, I see what I'm saying, 70% of Kano. Kwankwaso has divided the vote, true of us. Kwankwaso 1, Atiku 2, Tinubu 3. Now look at even our own Igbo. Look at our own Igbo. Do you know that people are actually voting for, they are voting for Tinubu on a high level? And Atiku. No, Atiku's own is that the first problem he had was the G5 governors pulling away from him. That was the only issue he had.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
And
what caused the G5 issue?
See, I am a politician. I told you guys, me coming here today was when I heard politics. G5 governors pulled out. Why? Because Wike had a round meeting with. Wike has been a stakeholder in PDP since 1999. Before Atiku even entered PDP. Wike told them, if a northerner wins the presidential ticket, the chairmanship ticket should go to the southerner. If a southerner wins the presidential ticket, the chairmanship, that is PDP chairmanship ticket, should go to the northerners. Now, Ayu is from north, the same north place that Atiku is from. Atiku won the presidential ticket. Ayu refused to resign. Wike said, if Ayu doesn't resign, what this means is that if Atiku wins this presidential election, because this stakeholder thing and this appointment of ministerial comes from the chairman of PDP, and according to how many stakeholders people have, if they give a southerner the chairman, he can appoint other southerners in a strategic position for PDP. But Ayu said, I'm not resigning. Wike said, that's not how things are done. Because first of all, if the governor of Abia State wins the Senate, and peradventure Atiku wins the, what they call it, president, the head of the house should be like the so-called Senate president and everything. Is actually the Senate, the chairman of PDP that brings out, the same way with chairman of APC. If Tinubu wins today, the chairman of APC that will bring out who will be the Senate president. And people most people are not aware of that. That's why Ozokalo is actually rooting for Tinubu. If Tinubu wins, Ozokalo has every likelihood of being the Senate president. These are things that we don't see going. And as I say, personal interest. Now Ozokalo will mobilize everybody in the bend to vote for Abia, not to vote for Tinubu, two of us. Now come to this part of us. Maya here. How many people come out that day and vote? How many people come out that day and vote? Let us see ourselves. So I just want all of us to just be realistic. Starting from how many people have peace. Because these PVC campaigns, we are not even doing it enough. We are not doing it enough. Twitter now, go to Twitter now and go and check the trend. You will just be busy seeing BB Nigeria. I got very angry. I was like, BB Nigeria actually comes up every May. Do you even ask yourself, why did they bring it to January? It's political war. And they know the only way to distract this our generation of when Buhari call most of us lazy, not for us that are actually, we have the ones that are actually fraudulent and they are lazy, that are actually spoiling business for tech guys and for people that, if you want to get work now from a foreigner, once you're in Nigeria, they'll have double mind first. Do you know why? Because they believe you might scam them. True or false? It's the truth now. As a photographer, most of the customers I get outside country, they will first ask you if they want a verified profile. And for you to be the verified profile online, you have to go through severe processes. This is what we actually look at. And that day, they will sit in their house on TV and put their legs cross their table and be watching BB Nigeria. And someone in the village, in the north, half of the whole village of that day. So, let's be realistic. It's painful. It's very, very painful. And this is why Tinubu will come out and be doing blah, blue, blue, blue. Because you see that he just telling you that no matter how bad it sounds, you might be surprised. I will mock all of you and I will still win. And we will feel bad because we that don't have anywhere to jump to. Because half of the people doing all these things, at the end of the day, they enter plane and go back to outside country. Most supporters we have are actually outside country more than in Nigeria. True or true? True or true? Half of them are outside country. They are busy making their mouth and blabbing their mouth outside country. Most of them don't even know what their village looks like. Most of them have not said I'm donating $10,000 to make sure that everybody in this village gets PVC. Just vote for P2B. It's just very sad. I'm feeling very bad that we are talking about politics where we are not even sat down to look at ourselves and ask, how many young people are politicians? You know, this politics is still in the hands of the generation of our fathers. Two of us. That's why when my brother joined politics, for you to know the system, you must be part of the system. That's how it works. The first thing I tell every young person is, except you've not been part of the system, you might not know how the system works. What I'm saying with confidence is that I've sat down, I've seen people do elections, I've been part of the system. When my brother contested for deputy chairman, under Mundocha won, I know how it happened. The vote was actually done normally. But most wanted to win. And we found out when they entered the rigging, the way they cancelled the election on Friday, Saturday morning they declared them winners. How did it happen? Nobody cares. But we know how it happened. And this is why we now found out that P2B now, if he doesn't win now, I'm sure he will go take back his time for the next 4 years and understand when people are shouting about this structure. Our fathers know what they do when they shout structure. Structure is the head of this stakeholder here is this old man. Do you know that when that old man says, you should vote for this person, at some point you might want to vote for P2B because of this old man, you vote for him. Because why? This man has been helping this village. And if P2B does not win in that, if Atiku does not win or Tinubu does not win in that village, it will affect the whole villagers. So these are things that we look at and we sit down. The same way I tell people in Abia State, no matter how bad it sounds, before PDP will lose in this state, it will take the hands of God. And not as if, one thing I like about God is that God is very just. If you work, you get it. PDP has, even to the last drop of human beings in this state, the village that we don't even know, there is this part of Okwa that I'm sure most of us have not been to. PDP, they have everybody installed there, which no other party. These are structures they built over time. And the only people that are willing to fight them is APC. And APC now, look at where they are in shambles. So we are talking about politics. I think the best way to go about this is to start sensitizing ourselves. And everybody in school, Omudike, for instance.
And the question now is this, another thing that I want to speak. Most of these students were on strike when they registered for the enlisted. What if during the election they decide to start an exam? What will happen?
It will happen.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because you don't know what since BB Nigeria can start.
That's how it happens.
And we have not grown to the point because you're looking at this thing. Most of us, okay, let's answer ourselves this question. We have BVNs, right? And we have NIN. These are the two things. Like, let's call that our social security number in Nigeria. Are you telling me that this is not enough for us to cast our votes anywhere? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's enough, but the problem is that the system is not built that way. The system is not built that way. And I actually believe in Nigeria. But when we look at this thing critically, you have to see that we as ourselves are meant to like try our best to ensure that this thing, because to me I believe that it's the same thing. The power is in our hands because we're actually the ones that constitute more. Because if you look at INEC's statistics, you realize that from 50 or so, 45 downwards, constitute the 70 something or 78% of people that registered or that are registered voters. Do you get? So which means we have a better leverage. And the question now is this: what effort are we ourselves making? How many of us registered for our PVC? How many of us have gone to collect it? 2019. They are still giving.
It's very nice. Because I remember they say something. If you have an old PVC, I should go back. Because I have my PVC from 2019. But you know what they might do that? I'm surprised the thing will get. This is what I call war. If God does not have this thing to work, they will reject the old one.
Alright.
What's the president of Kenya? What's his name? Ruto. You know, before the guy won, because Ruto was the people's choice, the youth choice. So before Ruto won the election, all these things were happening, but he still won the election. Understand? You said something about PVC collection, and I have escorted 3 people to take PVC. And anytime I go to follow them to take PVC, there is always crowd there. So I've been opportune to work in a jam center where they register jam. And I saw something that's a thing common among Nigerians, especially the youth. They love rush hour. So it's a week before the deadline or 5 days before the deadline. This is when you see crowd will come there. And if they come, they will make sure they will take their PVC. Understand? So now you may be 40 over 100 people that have taken their PVC now, but check it after the deadline after the collection of PVC. You will find out that it will be 95% of the youth have taken their PVC. Because I worked in JAM office. It's always when JAM say JAM is ending on 30th of this social month. It will be at that 29th, 30th, you see crowd will come just to register for JAM. So this is how Nigerians are.
Are changing. For instance, a few months ago, we were talking about people going to register for the PVC. And what was the outcome? I think it was massive. So, and that is the impact of sensitization. You talked about sensitization, meaning that it is working that way. So let me not say, even if things don't work out in this election, but there is a change in the mind shift of how people think now from how we were thinking over the years. So I like that when you were saying, that you like the possibility that things could change. I also like that you said you were a politician. Did you say that? Okay, but you talk about politics better. But even at that, I like how you speak strongly, but what I deduce from what you're saying, that you're giving us the worst case scenario. That's the chances of things going so bad.
Yes, and you know why? You know, if we keep on pampering West and making things look as if, don't worry, people will win. Don't worry, all these things will come on social media and trend. If I can get a handful of people and speak to them like this and ginger them to work harder. Because there is someone there that don't even care. Like I said, half of the girls are busy watching BB Nigeria now and trending on social media. Is BB Nigeria the current situation we should be talking about? Are we not supposed to be thinking, this is what I'm saying, if we don't paint these worst scenarios and look at Nigeria in the next 4 years with Tinubu, can you even picture yourself with Nigeria and Tinubu for the next 8 years, not 4 years, because if he wins now, he will win the next 4 years. And let me tell you what I will do. I will go and calculate all my savings and japa to the least Ghana. Do you know why? Because with Buhari, imagine with Buhari 8 years how life has been. All of us.
At the point, I started comparing. You guys saw when they gave him the flag, right? The flag. They gave Atiku the flag. He couldn't even hold it. Buhari looks stronger than him. Like Buhari looks like. When I look at Buhari now, I'm like, wow, this man is even strong. Like this guy is very strong. Now compare it to God. Okay, you have something to say. Okay, let's Choma say something.
Okay, so I want to say it's not from everything that we've said. Yeah, I feel like I agree with my brother here that there's a shift in the mindset of most Nigerians. I, for one, I've never owned a PVC. I mean, I've been 18 since so many years ago, but I've always had that mentality that my votes never count. But this year, I'm fighting tooth and nail to get my PVC because I know that my vote is going to count this time around. But INEC is not also helping us. They can't find my PVC. It has not been printed. My sister's PVC is nowhere to be found as well.
I want to ask a question. Like, let's say, for instance, you have the one of 2011. Do you get? Is it still valid? That's number one. Number two is are they going to reprint it again?
No.
Sorry?
Let me tell you, you said yes, and I said, on that day, it's electronics. They might program it, INEC might program it to first accept the new ones before the old ones because of this cheap thing. And now, let me see also paint a scenario. Do you know that most times INEC intentionally delays these PVCs so that they can sell it on the day of election? Are we aware of that? I'm telling you from realism. They actually hold this PVC. That 5%, 95 might get their PVC. That 5% that don't have it, do you know that at the end of the day, that 5%, Nigeria has population. Unlike Kenya, that you can checkmate some things. Nigeria has so much population that as a human being, if you keep on trying to go on election day to check everybody that votes, and the worst thing they can ever do is, once they declare a winner, let's leave it there. If they declare Tinubu as winner, you go to court from now to the next 100 years. That's the one thing I hate about politics. It's better they don't declare a winner at all. Because once they just say this person has won, nothing, not even Jupiter.
And another thing I wanted to add was that this new electoral law now has it that anybody declares winner, you no need going to court. No going to court. Anybody declare winner in this new electoral law that they just brought in now, there's no court. That means the person is automatically a winner. If you go to court, that one, in fact, there is no court allowed for this new, both state and federal. And I also want all of us here, we are all youths. I don't know your name, brother. Jonathan. Jonathan was saying that the youths need to get their PVC. But I'm saying that rather, the youth need to be rather educated. My brother said that the youths have more. The youths are like the kingmakers. Likewise, the last election, the youths were the kingmakers. If you check the statistics, the youths had no less than. Youth has no less than more than half of the votes that were casted.
So what can we do now to educate the youth? Or should we just back out and say, okay, the deed has been done? I know that education has been ongoing since 2020, after the whole NSAS thing. That's when the young ones knew that the only option they had was the last card they had was just election. Do you understand? So, but what can we do now within this 1 month and 5 days? To educate the young ones?
First of all, now collecting of PVCs will stop when? 20 what? They will shift it by 2 weeks. That's how they do always. First of all, when they reach the deadline, they will shift it. Now, if they shift it, collect your PVC should be something we should be doing as a normal day-to-day rally. When I mean rally, I mean carry balls, carry mic. If you have your PVC, come here, let me do giveaway. Because it's like giveaway. First of all, in the town, in the villages. Because that's the first stage. Then after we are sure that people have their PVC, the next step is you market your candidate.